Hello, and welcome to this episode of Club Thrive, the podcast with me, Kate Sterling. Hopefully, the technology this week plays the game. It's already getting off to a great start, isn't it? And hopefully, also, the dog doesn't bark. He's just been barking his head off. That's Ralph in the background if you hear Ralph. And hopefully, Sienna doesn't wake up because I'm also doing this. Parenting because Warren is out and I am here doing the podcast because this is what I do on a Wednesday night. So anyway, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your rates, your shares, your reviews. They mean the world, especially in these, they're not early days. I've been working for a long time, 20 years, no, longer than that. But with the rebrand of Club Thrive in the middle of, earlier in 2023, we are now in August 2023. It's actually, I've had to kind of take that step back and say, right, well, we are rebuilding or growing in a new way because of, what I was building before was very much fitness focused, and this is still fitness and nutrition and well-being. Your well-being is a massive part of your ability to thrive, your ability to stand up in the world as your very best self. Like even just thinking about it, I've sat up in my chair. And so, there's a lot at play, and my experience with all of that as a PT and a nutrition coach and a yoga teacher comes into all the work as a mindset and confidence coach. And together these pillars really give you all the tools that you need to truly go out there and thrive, so that you can be seen and valued and heard as your own incredible selves. So welcome to this week's episode. Do go give it a rate and a review and a share because it means the world, like I just said, and it does help also other people discover this podcast. And obviously what I want, hopefully, from this podcast is to really help you to continually up-level your life. Ultimately, as individuals, we hit a wall sometimes, and we can feel challenged in overcoming the barriers and the obstacles that kind of get in our way. So at the end of the day, I really want you to do the very, very best that you can out of your personal and your professional lives. And so that's what this podcast is here for. And the more of you that are able to hear this podcast and, I don't know, be inspired by it or be empowered by it or feel supported by it, the better your lives will become, and it's that ripple effect. And that's what this episode is all about today, because this episode has been inspired by a message that I got from a friend earlier in the week. I had posted on my Instagram stories, come follow me if you're not already, @clubthrive_, that she messaged. I had posted about doing a breakthrough coaching session. So my one-to-one coaching program is called Breakthrough currently, and it is a confidence coaching container. So for 16 weeks we really look at, focus on and support you in helping you to build your confidence and build your presence and build your self-belief so that you can go out there and achieve the things you want to achieve whilst also looking after your health and well-being. And I posted about this saying, it was really cool, I've had a really great session with a new client, and she replied to my story and said, "You're doing the thing. It's just been so amazing to watch your journey," and, kind of words to that effect. But the important thing was the message that said, "You're doing the thing." And I was like, oh my God, a year ago, I had decided that although fitness was a big part of my approach with lifestyle and well-being, like I was just saying, what I really wanted to focus on was empowering. It's been a long day, sorry. It's like 9:30 p.m. Ambitious creative women to appreciate their worth, live authentically and dare to be seen, heard and valued for the incredible people that you are. And actually, if regardless of your gender, I say this quite a lot. It's actually, this podcast is for everyone and anyone. If you're someone that struggles with low self-esteem and low self-belief, then this podcast will also definitely help you. But, there was an element of also having become a mum, wanting to support mums who wanted their own career. So if you're a mum that also wants your own career and, your personal well-being, to stop getting lost in the needs of others, that's also why I set up everything that I'm doing here at Club Thrive. And, it was really to give you the tools to build your own thriving breakthrough mindset so you can keep pushing through your own glass ceilings and feel able to overcome the obstacles that come your way. Because ultimately so much of this, in my personal opinion, is based on your mindset, your perception of yourself, how you see yourself, the thoughts that you have, the beliefs that you have, the ways that you might be holding yourself back, like we all do, the ways that I hold myself back still now, even though I'm a mindset and confidence coach. an NLP life coach, all of the things. I'm still human. And at the end of the day, I've just got maybe a bit more practiced at realizing the thoughts that are trying to keep me safe or trying to keep me in a certain place versus the thoughts that I need to have in order to keep me moving through and pushing through and breaking through. And this is how, what I do with coaching is help you to discover that within yourself so that you can keep truly and utterly, and with the podcast and with social media, keep discovering more and more and more and more and more about you. Because I think over our lifetime we become, without realizing it, or whether we do realize it, conditioned to environments, conditioned to behave in a certain way, conditioned to do things that we think are right or wrong based on things that people have said when we were kids, that you've held on to, maybe even without realising it. Things as a result of challenging situations in your personal life, job losses, breakups, things that ex-boyfriends or girlfriends or partners have said. All of these things have a massive impact. And so, when I had my knee surgery last year and I realised that actually, I'd worked in fitness since I was 16. It was kind of 22 odd years, really, 21 years. That fitness, although it was a part of it, physically my body had changed, so I couldn't keep recording workouts in a way like I had done during the pandemic. Also, where I live right now, it's tricky in our space. It's tricky with a baby. It's tricky juggling the parenting. It's not as practical to film as when it was in a flat that didn't have a baby also living in it. And I also, wasn't still experiencing pain in my body. And so for me as well, working out and training is a important part for me to look after my own self. And it was almost like I needed to keep that as something that I could still do however many years down the line that I want to be able to do it. So it wasn't that I wanted to stop. I'm still working, coaching individuals with their fitness. It's part of it. And it helps you when you really do spend that time, whether it's prioritizing it or valuing it. Movement and exercise and how we eat and our relationship with all of these things makes a massive impact in how you feel. And it's not at all about making your body look a certain way or trying to fit a specific aesthetic, as I was talking about last week. It's really about helping you to discover yourself more so that you can make choices that help you to live your very best life. And I know that is like the world's cheesiest saying, but at the end of the day, when we're not very happy, we make choices that keep us unhappy, or it's hard to really push through because we're stuck in our cycle of our thoughts or our feelings, or a combination of all of those things, or situational changes that are out of our control. And, when you've got other anxieties that come in or other things that come in because you maybe have children or you have a partner that you're also supporting or you have parents that you're looking after, whatever it is, you've got all these other responsibilities in your life. And so, the whole concept and the whole reason I set up Club Thrive was to give you as many tools as you could use to become the best version, to live an optimal lifestyle, regardless of what you have going on. Obviously, in an ideal world, it'd be great if we could all get up, go do a workout, go to the spa, go out for a nice meal and have all these things as every single day. And I'm sure there's people out there that do have that. But for many of us, we also have to work and we want to work, and our work is an important part of us. And being able to show up to work and feel confident at work is important. And that was also why, I moved slightly away from the fitness focus, because for me, I'd lost so much confidence with my acting. There was no way I could do a self-tape without melting and sweating and thinking I was going to forget all the lines. And, of course, because when you create these worries, that's what happens. And so obviously I've gone off on a bit of a tangent already. But everything that I've just kind of talked about is all about helping you to realise how capable you are. And it all comes from that mindset. And so when I got this message from, I'm sure she won't mind me mentioning her, Eliza, she runs Room of Rest. I think it's room_rest_yoga. I'll check that out actually on Instagram. I'll just look that up now whilst we're here. When she messaged me that, it was kind of like, room_of_rest. I used to work with Eliza. She is a yoga teacher and really focuses on yin and nidra. So if you're someone that gets stressed a lot, go check her out because she does amazing things with helping you rest. Type A's, I know what you like. And when she messaged me this, I thought, oh my God, this whole vision that I had last year of setting up Club Thrive, and it wasn't called Club Thrive then, I only rebranded it earlier in the year. Club Thrive was actually a membership concept that I had for my other company, Sterling Fit, which I've kind of shifted into Club Thrive. I've, pivoted it and expanded as a result. It was the membership idea, because it was something that was a real sense, a real place, a real community for women to thrive. And I kind of, when she sent me that message, and I realised that I was doing the confidence coaching and I was doing mindset coaching with people, and I was helping all the women that, the clients I have now are kind of the great people I want to be working with, because ultimately coaching is about helping you discover also what's important to you. So it's different to mentoring, where mentoring is more me saying, right, well, if you do 3 workouts a week and you also eat this on these kind of days and you think like this, you're going to get that outcome. Whereas coaching is very much like, okay, what outcome do you want, and how are we going to help you get there? And it's about really tapping into your needs and your desires, which is what is so cool about it. And then because of my experience as a coach from a fitness perspective, I have all that experience to come in as a mentor if you need it, which is why I bring all of these aspects into the podcast. So you're getting the best of both worlds. So the questions that I give into these episodes, if you really explore them and you start to practice asking yourself them, whether you're listening to this podcast or watching this podcast or whatever or not, you will start to get to know yourself better, and you will start to also get more comfortable with realizing when you maybe are holding yourself back, or a bit scared of something, or don't really want to do something, or want to do something more. So, this getting to know yourself better is really empowering, and a coach helps you facilitate that. But ultimately, if you're, not in a position to work with a coach, for someone like me or whoever it is, then this podcast will help you to continue tapping into all of these aspects of you. And the reason I'm so passionate about it is that through my own discovery of overcoming the challenges that I've had with divorce and depression and miscarriage and an eating disorder, everything comes back to mindset. Everything comes back to my perception of myself, perception of the world around me. So how we see ourselves in the bigger picture of the world. All of these things comes back to that place of what we think or what you think. How you respond to what people say to you, how much value you give to that. And the neuro-linguistic programming helps to also find positive outcomes. So it's not about pretending you're okay when you're not. Obviously, life can be very, very challenging sometimes. But actually, it's about saying, right, okay, well, this is where we're at. And I've got a part of me perhaps that's trying to keep me somewhere. So whether it's, you want to start exercising and there's a part of you that's like, oh, but actually I just want to watch Netflix or, or it's pushing you too much. It's like, you need to go out and do 10 more runs today. You've only done 4. You need to do 6 more, and it's balancing those parts so you can keep listening to yourself and be like, actually, no, I just want to rest today. Why are you wanting me to go out and do more? I need to rest. And then you can have a conversation, get very comfortable with talking to yourself, basically. You can have a conversation with all of the voices that are coming into your mind, to identify them, to work out whose they are. Is it someone from school when you were 12? Is it your own? Is it something that you've heard on the TV? Is it something that you've read in a, magazine? Is it something you've seen on Instagram? All of these things, we absorb them, and neuro-linguistic programming helps bring attention to those things. It helps to reprogram how we think so that you can then take the action you want to take and become the person you want to be. And if you haven't read James Clear's Atomic Habits, I really recommend it. He talks a lot about embodying identity and then making the choices along the way to get there. So it's similar, like if we're talking about Club Thrive, for example. Last year, I knew I wanted to set up this idea, and so I worked it backwards, and I was like, well, what do I need to do to get to this work that I want to do? I need to become a life coach. I need to do my NLP. I want to do my NLP. I don't even need to. I want to. This is the area of work I want to go down. But in order to figure that out, I kind of imagined what my life would be like as a coach in a slightly different aspect from a fitness coach, for example, from a personal trainer, from a yoga teacher, from teaching at yoga studios, from writing a lot of online programs. I really explored it, and this is why visualization is brilliant, because you can really tap into the feelings of those different identities. And it's a really useful one if you are struggling to make change, so make lifestyle changes, if it is to feel healthier, if it is to eat in a slightly different way, if it is to go out there and do something different with work. Really imagine you doing that. Really connect to what it feels like to be doing the thing you really, really, really want to do that you're not doing, and then explore what comes up for you. And so, I'm celebrating doing the thing. Club Thrive is the thing. Confidence coaching and mindset is the thing. It's something that I have been so passionate about, and it's taken me years to get to this point. And so I'd forgotten when I received this message from Eliza that I was doing the thing, because I'm just embodying something that I imagined a couple of years ago. And I had negated to really acknowledge it. Like, I recommend all my clients to celebrate the wins, and I've celebrated the wins. I've celebrated being here doing it, but I'd rushed past it because I was already like, okay, well, what's next? Okay, well, I want to get 4 more new clients. I want to launch a membership. I want, whatever it is. I kind of hadn't really fully appreciated that I'm doing the thing. And I think when we are doing the thing, whatever that means to you, whether it is working as a creative, working as an actor, going out there auditioning, whether it is writing your own music, whether it is writing, whether it is considering a new job, whether it is deciding that you want to get fitter, deciding you want to wear a certain outfit. These things are like the thing, in inverted commas. And so my question to you, I guess, is, what is the thing that you are not doing? Or what is the thing that you are doing and have kind of forgotten that you're doing it? And I think it's very easy for us to skim over it all because there are so many challenges in life and there's so many balls that you're juggling, and so we keep focusing on the things that we don't have yet, or we keep focusing on the things that we want more of, rather than being like, wow, look at my plate already. Oh my God, it's really full, because there are other milestones to go and get. And I think it was so great to get this message because it's like inspired the podcast. It inspired my emails to the community this week. It inspired my thoughts. It inspired Eliza to then go and get her stuff out and record something new for what she's working on. And so that ripple effect is really cool, because you then feel energized and you're going to help other people feel energized too. I always think that when we are happier or feel a bit more in flow with ourselves, everything else is then impacted positively. Home life improves, relationships with friends improves, relationship with your food and alcohol and exercise and your body improves. It becomes easier to do the things that are going to help you to continue looking after yourself. And so if you're really struggling to do the thing, first identify what it is that you really want to do, and then you can really explore why you are not doing the thing. So for example, I have an example here where, like I said, long day. So apologies if I repeat myself. I really want to launch Club Thrive as an official community. And when I set up the free WhatsApp group that I did a couple of months ago, part of it was always about creating a community. But my habit has always been to rush into stuff and to really launch things really quickly to try and earn an income, but also to build my empire. And actually I've learned to slow down and to focus just on one thing at a time, and to really trust what I'm doing. But this whole concept of wanting to launch an official membership has been playing over and over and over. It's like my next thing. And so this week, as a result of this whole discovery about doing the thing and thinking about it, I was like, okay, so what am I scared of? Like, why have I not started this yet? Why am I holding back? What am I holding back from? And these things can help bring up something called limiting beliefs. So a limiting belief is something that we kind of put on as a stamp of fact. So a limiting belief might be like, well, I can't go swimming because I don't know how to swim. And in fact, you do know how to swim. It's just that you think you can't swim in comparison to a Olympic swimmer, for example. Or it might be that you don't think you're good with money. And so that's become your story because you say that. It's a limiting belief. You don't think you're good with money. It's kind of almost like it's planted a seed of fact into your mind. Like another one of mine is I can't drive. I mean, I can drive. I have a driving license, but I have fears there. I'm nervous about it. So the limiting beliefs really hold us back. I had one that I talked about recently where I discovered I didn't believe that I was allowed to run a successful business based on things in my personal life from like a decade ago. And I was using that limiting belief to hold myself back, using it as a reason to basically not be successful. And this is where, in terms of, just financial security or whatever success means to you. And that's the other important thing as well, is really define what success is for you, what's important to you, and, understand how you will manage it, so you don't burn out. But these limiting beliefs can then feed into choices that self-sabotage your chance of success. So it might be, I don't think I can get fit. And so it's also really important to really define what you mean by these things. So what is fit, what is success, all this kind of stuff, really get clear on what that means for you, to you. And, you know, if you don't think you're capable of getting fit, in inverted commas, and you say, because last time it just never works, I never get fit, I never get to the place I want to get, and you look back and you're kind of, you've had a repeated pattern of behavior with that. Maybe you've started trying to do something for 3 or 4 weeks and you haven't seen the results you want, and then you're like, well, you see, I can't do it, I'm never going to get fit, I'm never going to be able to run 5k, because there's been that like point when it gets uncomfortable that you want to stop, because our bodies and our minds like comfort too. And also because that's the point where you've hit that wall of the limiting belief, where the thought says, I can't do it, and then it's too much to push through. And this is where the whole approach that I have with coaching is about helping you to say, right, okay, hang on, what is true in this moment, so that you can keep going, so you can push through that 5k to then get to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10k, whatever it is, so that you can recognize when you've got a cycle of comfort eating, for example, and you are trying to really get to a place of kind of a healthy balance with food, whatever that means to you, and it's got to a place where after 3 or 4 weeks you've kind of had one night where it hasn't really gone to plan, and you've just thought, right, well, that's it, look, there's no point. And already, I've almost like sunk out of shot of the camera for those of you that are watching. It's like the energy that drains from your body as soon as that limiting belief comes in, it keeps you where you are. And it's in those moments to say, right, hang on, why am I not wanting to push through this? I know it's going to be a bit uncomfortable, but the rewards are going to be amazing. I'm going to feel so much better about myself. I'm going to feel more confident. And those are just movement and body-based examples, but it might be that you are really holding yourself back with some work. It might be that you really want to reach out to someone and you're nervous and you're worrying too much about what they think of you. And there's a limiting belief that no one wants to work with you, because maybe there was one time where it didn't work out, and that's also become your story. And so this is where reflection is really powerful, because you can look back, and I wish I'd written it down, but I was looking back and at like something that had come up for me, and I was like, oh, that sounds like a 16-year-old voice that I've got. Like, I really could link it back to a time at school. And this is where you can look back and understand where these thoughts have come in, which is why it's useful to understand or connect to or question whose voice it is that you're hearing. And then you can start to unpack it, and you can start to replace that limiting belief with a thought that is more useful and more helpful for you to push on through, to break through, to move through the glass ceilings, to really put yourself out there. And, it kind of can help you make those connections that you're nervous of making, because you are worried about what people might think of you. And I understand that one. That's something I've worked really hard on myself over the last couple of years, is that ultimately, you build it up, or we build it up to such an enormous size that the thought of sending an email becomes a massive task, and then we don't do it. And that can sometimes stop us from doing the thing. And so there's techniques with neuro-linguistic programming as well, where, if you imagine that obstacle, that thing or the goal you're trying to do, and it feels massive, maybe it's blocking your vision, maybe it's kind of loud as well, maybe you feel it in your body, everything's really tense, is that you play with it, you play with the size of it, see what happens if you try to shrink it down, or you try to distance yourself from it, and you're looking, maybe you kind of imagine looking at the email that you want to send from further away. Or maybe you change the size of yourself, like you're watching yourself writing the email, and you can see you doing it, and you're imagining the outcome, and you kind of see that actually all you're doing is just writing an email. It's not suddenly this massive thing that is going to cloud your vision. So that you can play with the size of things, you can play with the perception of things, you can play with the feelings, you can really get creative with it, so that you can also then understand what you want from it. Oh, actually, I don't know if I really do want to email that person. Who I really want to email is their colleague. Or there's a sense of, well, actually, I'm just going to send it, and I'm going to really pat myself on the back for doing that. And so these limiting beliefs that come in when you hit those walls, addressing them, facing them, understanding them, getting inquisitive with them, understanding why they're there. Even if you don't have the answer, just acknowledging that they're there, so that you can then make a choice that will help you move in a direction that you want to go in, rather than the self-sabotage and the limiting beliefs and the habit of choice taking over and dictating where you're going to go next. And that's how you can break that cycle with things like comfort eating or comfort drinking, or when you go all in on something and then you use up all your energy in the first 2 weeks and then it's like you haven't seen the results and you quit. And whether that's with work, whether it's with your business, whether it's with your applying to jobs, there's a real resilience and grit to keep on going. And sometimes, sure, there's a moment of, oh, actually, I really need to rest. And you've got another part of you saying, no, go on, you need to keep going, you need to keep going. And the resting part of you is like, no, but seriously, this is going around in circles. I need to take a breather here. I'm going to be better off for taking a breather. And maybe your other voice is saying, yeah, but hang on, you can't take a breather. You need to keep on going. And then the voice that wants to rest says, yeah, but look, I've just made all those mistakes. This shows me that I need to take a break and I'll be able to come back and do a better job by having that rest. And then the push voice might say, oh, okay, yeah, all right, I support that. Yeah, because, I really want you to do well. And the whole premise of all of this is that actually all the voices and the parts of us and everything that we are, every little bit of it has a positive intention, and again, you can really explore it with journaling. You can explore it, if you've got a couple of mates that are also in a similar situation, you can explore it with them to give a safe space because it can be quite vulnerable to admit that we need help or that we're not happy with where we are. Like today, I had a meeting with a financial advisor, financial planner, because, oh my God, as a self-employed creative, we don't really have that much support with how to plan for our pensions or how to plan for the longer term, or how even to manage savings, or how to get consistent with an income and or manage an inconsistent income, especially if a business is in an earlier day, or you've had a tricky couple of months with work, so that I was able to take back a bit of control. And it's empowering and it's a bit exhausting, and sometimes I'm like, oh God, I really hate asking for help, but I'm able to then reflect and be like, well, actually working with my own coach, for example, was transformative for me. That was money really well spent. So actually investing in something like a financial advisor or planner to help me, that's not a bad thing. That doesn't mean I'm a failure. That just means I'm human. That just means I'm going to be better for the help that I can get, or I'm going to be in a better situation for the help I can get. So the other thing is to acknowledge what you're already doing. And I think sometimes we don't give credit to where it's due. So for example, I'm just going to use acting again, if you're acting and you're an actor and you're applying to castings, you're actually doing the thing, but because you're not working, you don't see yourself as an actor, and then confidence dips because it becomes that narrative of, but I'm not working. And look at all these people that are in HBO stuff and BBC, and look at all these writers that have got their stuff on the TV, and I'm only submitting my stuff to fringe competitions, whatever. You can't, it's different. You will get to that point where you're writing for HBO or whatever, and there will always be someone else that you're like, oh, but I'm still not doing the thing. So being able to acknowledge where you are now, regardless of your status, that you connect to it, is super powerful. Really great way to still feel like you're achieving, you're succeeding, wherever you're at. And these things as well can really help lift the mood, lift the energy, lift that well-being as well, lift that mental space, help your sleep, because you're not constantly in your head being like, oh, I need to do more, I need to do more, I need to be better, this is not enough, because that becomes like that motor in the background that is exhausting. And so it's saying, okay, well, today I got out the camera and I tried to film something, and it was probably it wasn't that great, but I did it. And acknowledging that and saying, okay, I tried it, and over time it's going to get better, but I had to start it. I mentioned it in episodes a couple of weeks ago, but, checking out a book called The Compound Effect is a really, really, really great book to read. It's a real good one as well if you are self-employed and running your own thing. And that reminder that those little single tiny things every single day that sometimes feel completely innocuous over time will have a snowball effect. And so it's by Darren Hardy. Such a good book because it talks about money, but you can use it in any context. You can use it in your health, in your attempts of writing to people or making new connections or putting yourself out there. Everything that you do is like a step in the direction that you want to go in, the step towards doing the thing. And pardon me, that we often as well associate success with materialistic outcomes, and actually some of the hardest stuff that you are doing is the work that you're putting in every day, just getting up in the morning and deciding to keep putting one foot in front of the other towards the thing, whatever that is for you. And the thing will always change, because you will reach the thing and then you'll decide that you want to go off and do something else. So really hone in on the things that you are doing, the small wins and the big wins. Like I'm working as a confidence coach, as a mindset coach. That's amazing. That was something that last August I wasn't doing, because I needed to qualify. I needed to build something that could give me that space to do it. And yet I had forgotten it, and I had forgotten the enormity of that. Because for me, I think this is as well, when you work for yourself, you kind of, it's really great when you've got outsiders kind of reflecting that back to you. It's super important. But also there are tangible things that we need to feel like we're getting. We need to earn an income. We need to feel like we're also having time off. We want to feel like we're also being good parents. And it's really hard to juggle it all, because we can get a bit hard on ourselves and forget to take the break. And so that kind of links into it as well. In order to do the thing, you need to be in your best form. And so this is where all of that exploration into where you hit the walls and where you might be holding yourself back, or where you feel like you hit that sense of discomfort because you're about to push through an obstacle or push through a wall, is where you can say, okay, hang on, what's coming up here? What limiting beliefs are coming up? What is that self-sabotage wanting to do? Why is it wanting to keep me safe? I'm not going to let that happen this time. I'm going to walk away from whatever it is that normally messes me up. Or I'm going to just explore this a little bit and sit in that slightly uncomfortable feeling. I'm going to feel those emotions that normally I try and dampen down and hide. I'm going to feel that anxiety about the things that maybe aren't going as well. And I'm going to process them so that I don't keep going to the biscuit tin at 4:00, because that makes me feel better. There's nothing wrong with that. But over time, these habits that we create that help us feel better or whatever, that help us soothe us, that help us kind of, or that keep us stuck, become an identity in themselves. And this is where connecting to what you really want, without the kind of parameters of there needing to be a right or wrong or a should or a shouldn't, how you want to feel, who you want to be, keep coming back to that, keep connecting to it, keep exploring it, because it will constantly change. But it's also a great way to keep grounded, to keep focused, to keep that kind of attention to detail of what's important, so that you don't end up, not on purpose, not meaning to, but getting to a place where you don't feel that good and you aren't bringing your best self every single day. And obviously there are going to be some days where we don't, because we also have biological things and physiological things that are going on. But at least if you are conscious of it all, you are able to make decisions and choices that best support you to feel your very best. Because it's hard sometimes. But hard doesn't have to be horrible. Hard, when we know things are going to be hard, can be a great challenge, can be a great sense of accomplishment when you're like, God, that was so hard, but look at what I've done. Look at how great I am. And keep telling yourself that. Keep giving yourself that mantra or that sentence or that thought that really has that immediate fizzle effect, that has that immediate, like, yeah, I'm doing the thing. I'm running my own business. I'm applying for work by myself. I'm a parent. My body is amazing. And especially if you've gone through a lot, I talk quite openly about this, been through a miscarriage. When you go through these shifts with your body, and it can be hard and you can feel disconnected, and you've maybe had a traumatic experience with something physically, or you've had an injury or an illness, it's hard sometimes to accept where things are, because it's natural for us to look back and compare. But wherever you are, this is a chance for you to create whatever you want to come next. What is right now the thing that you want to work towards to give you that like lighthouse to move forwards, in a direction that's going to help you. And it doesn't have to be a goal specific thing. It can be an idea, it can be a feeling, it can be a colour. But by even connecting to that, you can kind of close your eyes or whatever and connect to it and imagine it and say, okay, well, what is, ask yourself, what is the next step I need to take, or I want to take, not need, what is the next step I want to take in order to get me closer to that end place, to that place I want to go, to the thing, so that I know that I am like looking after myself, but also challenging myself and putting myself out there and achieving the things I want to achieve, so that you don't end up feeling like you're not fulfilled and your purpose has kind of fizzled out and everything is a bit like, oh God, I'm just getting up to get through another day, because that's just not fun. and I've been there. And so all of this comes from a lot of, that's where the kind of mentorship, I guess, trying to give you these things that you can explore personally, but also saying this is very normal and it's possible to overcome it. And it comes down to that sense of yourself and your abilities and your belief in yourself, and facing up to the things that can be slightly challenging to face up to. I mean, I've spoken about it a couple of times now, but when I discovered that limiting belief that I had, that I didn't believe I was allowed to basically make any money from my experiences, my personal experiences, I cried because it's a release. We hold on to this stuff and they become our belief system, they become what govern us, and actually it's about facing up to it, but without it having to be a fight, kind of welcoming it in, if it feels safe for you to do so, to say, okay, I'm going to respect these feelings, I'm going to acknowledge them, I'm not going to keep pushing them away, I'm not happy with where I am, and I want to feel like this, and I want to look like that, and I want to spend my time doing these fun things or these things with work or whatever it is, knowing that, yeah, sure, sometimes life doesn't allow us to do all the things we want to do, but at least with that clarity and with that idea of what you do want to do, you will be able to make choices that, even if we don't know what we don't know, even if you don't quite get to exactly what you think you want, you will discover so many things about yourself. You will feel so great about the journey that every day is exciting, every day is full of potential, because actually there is no wrong, there's just this exploration. And yeah, I'm not like being naive here. I understand we all need to earn an income and we all need to make money and we all need to be able to pay our bills, but it's also connecting to the stuff that makes you feel the very best, so that you can show up as your very best, so that you can make choices that keep putting you into the picture of your life, so that you can be seen, heard and valued as the person you are, because you are incredible and unique. And it's hard if you don't feel like that right now, and maybe it's hard when everyone around you looks like they're doing the thing and you're not doing the thing. Find out what your thing is. This thing has got very could be anything. Decide what it is that you really want, and then play with it. Explore, ask yourself, what is the next step to get there? What do I need to do? What do I want to do? And, is it that you are nervous about going to a yoga class? Is it that you ask yourself, okay, I really want to go to a yoga class, that's going to be my thing, the thing. What can I do to get there? Okay, I'm going to try and do one online first to feel more comfortable, so that you can work it backwards to get you to where you want to go. Likewise with your identity, who you are, what's important to me? Okay, I really enjoy being outside. Okay, well, what's the next thing I can do to spend a bit more time outside, because that's going to help me feel good, which is going to help me show up as a happier person at home. It's going to give me more patience with my kids. It's going to help me to prepare food that's going to make me feel good, that's going to help sort my IBS out. All these things have such a ripple effect, and it doesn't have to be about work. It can be your own health and well-being. I think I've just had my cue from Sienna to go. So I will end things there tonight or today or this morning or whatever time you're listening to this. But thank you so much as always. Let me know what you think. Let me know what this brings up for you. Come and message me on Instagram and tell me what your thing is, so that we can support it at Club Thrive. Share the podcast, give us a rating and a review. And thank you so much for listening. Keep listening, keep sharing, keep believing in yourself, and have an absolutely amazing week. And just remember that there is so much possibility out there. There really, really, really is. And if you're feeling like that's a struggle right now, start small. Ask yourself, what is the next step I need to take and that I want to take in order to take one step closer to how I want to feel when I wake up in the morning. Okay, have a great, great, great week. And I will speak to you next week.